You have the ability to play softer and louder with everything in between than anyone on the planet. And I've heard this for 25 years that I've been listening to you. It seems like almost no one except your students can keep up with you, and that when it's time to play soft, you can play extraordinarily soft, and when it's time to play loud, you can make everyone else sound like they're in another room, and you can do everything in between. So I remember the first time that Winton heard you at Hal Oranger's studio, he said your playing made him want to just go home and practice. So can you talk about the extreme dynamic range that you're able to achieve, and how did that come about, and that kind of thing?
Well, again, I have to attribute the awareness of that, I think, to the various teachers that I had, because they made me aware of the concept of sound having be one which I eventually verbalized as being one of everyone's basic sound should be one of maximum resonance and minimum intensity, so that only if that, and that has to be related to the use of air. I hate to get into that the mechanical aspects of playing, but it's been my experience that most players never take in enough air, so that without the maximum air available, it's not possible to have the maximum possibilities of dynamic or color on the instrument. It takes just as much a volume of air available to play pianissimo as it does to play fortissimo. But there's also the tendency to, if you have something soft to play, you only take in a little bit of, you take in less air or not much air, and you hold the air back, so you end up using velocity for production, which causes the sound to have more intensity, so it doesn't sound soft.
Right, but your trademark is that any dynamic, even extremely soft, you still have this wonderful resonance that projects like crazy. So what's missing? How come other players aren't doing this?
Part of it is
it just simply sound concept?
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, I remember when I first started out, I once got in a discussion with the conductor, and I said that one of the things that I always had tried to achieve was to be able to play louder and softer than any other orchestral instrument, and that includes clarinet or a flute. It includes the entire brass section when they're cranking.
As far as I can remember, your last performance of Mahler 3, which was with Levine in Boston, and he took the chorale in the last movement that slower than I ever dreamed anyone would ever take it. But you did it in your sleep.
Well, I was almost unconscious. I don't know if the sleep would be the right term, but no, that was probably the most difficult performance of that, because I was determined to. Even when he started the last one, I thought, this is not going to be possible. And
yeah, but I heard it, and you did it.
Yeah, but it's. I've heard it since, and the. I mean, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't ever have to play as soft as I tried to play. Though I'm not sorry for having done that. But I remember hearing another very prominent, successful principal trumpet once say that the dynamic range really doesn't have to be much more than mezzo piano, mezzo forte, and I guess I could never, I would never accept that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a trumpet should be able to. It has a unique capacity to play with the broadest range of color and the broadest range of dynamic of any instrument in the orchestra.
Yeah.
Because it's the top of the brass pyramid.
Yeah. You know, I have to say, Charlie, just while we're on this subject, that one of the more inspirational things I've ever heard in 25 years of making horns is you and the Boston Symphony with Al Genovese or with Buddy Wright, where you guys are doing back and forth in the Mahler things, Mahler 3, etc., where you're trading licks with them and you're shaping the notes like Al did on oboe or like Buddy did on clarinet, and it's just this most glorious thing with all this subtlety and nuance and extremely soft, but just this haunting clarity that just penetrates the whole hall, even at 3 Ps for a dynamic range. Now, how do you do that?
Luck. No, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I remember, and some of this must have been sort of instinctive, because I hate to admit this, but I'm not one of those people that went and studied scores to see what happened. I figured, if, I'll be able to tell more with ears. One of the first times I played Bolero, I was actually well, it wasn't the first time I played Bolero, but the first time I played the first C trumpet part. And it was the tune, not the part at the end, which I subsequently always played. But I was unaware that the first solo, when I played the melody, is actually doubling the flute.
Mm.
And someone in the audience commented afterwards, said they couldn't tell what instrument it was, right? Because the blend was so good. And I wasn't even aware that I was playing with the flute, but I in the context of the whole orchestra, that was the texture that I wanted. I didn't want it to sound like necessarily sound like a trumpet.
Right.
I had people used to apologize to me. They says, "You sound like a violin," and they thought I was going to take offense. I consider that a big compliment.
It's a little bit off topic, but it reminds me, can you just relay the quick version of the story about when Maynard was playing his solo with the New York Philharmonic, the Bill Russo piece, and somebody asked Bill what they thought of Maynard's playing?
Yeah, he said, I got this for Maynard because I wasn't there, even though I heard all the performances. In fact, Maynard said, I thought, boy, I'm going to get really trash here. But Bill said, well, God forbid Maynard should ever lose his lip, but he could probably still play first trumpet in any orchestra in the country. But even better than that, Maynard said after my first entrance, Bernstein stopped and said, well, that was very good. Good intonation, good sound, good rhythm, but it's marked mezzo piano. And he says, before I could say anything, Bill Vacchiano said, Lenny, that is his mezzo piano.
So you heard those performances live?
Each one, yes, there were 4 of them.
You heard each one?
Yeah.
How was it?
They got better. I mean, the Maynard didn't play until the last movement, and his first entrance I think was a double C or some note up, that I would even have to count legialized to find out what the note was. And he sat there through 3 movements the first night, and when he came in, he was you could tell he was nervous. I mean, he was out of his element.
Yeah.
Each performance, he started playing along with the 4th trumpet, so that at least he played a little bit for the 25 minutes before.
Mm-hmm.
So each one got stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
The side effect of that too is that prior to that concert, that piece, if Vacchiano came into Juilliard and heard any of his students practicing in the upper register, you get chewed out. After that week, anybody that couldn't play a high F at any time got a smaller mouthpiece.
That's a great story.